Imagine living in constant fear that you or someone you know might secretly practice witchcraft. Thousands of people faced horrific trials and executions, yet entire communities were convinced witches were real. What could possibly have convinced so many people to believe in something so terrifying? Welcome to Zukkun Knows. 1. Fear and ignorance. In medieval Europe, people lacked scientific explanations for natural disasters, illnesses, and bad luck. Earthquakes, storms, plagues, and crop failures frightened them, leading them to search for explanations. Without scientific knowledge, they believed evil spirits and witches caused these misfortunes. Anyone who seemed strange, unlucky, or different became suspicious, and people desperately sought someone to blame to ease their fears. 2. Religious influence. Christianity had enormous power over medieval Europe. The church claimed witches were agents of the devil, spreading evil and threatening community morals. Preachers regularly spoke about the dangers of witchcraft, warning congregations that witches aimed to corrupt their faith and harm society. This religious messaging made witch hunting appear morally justified and necessary for protecting communities. 3. Witch trials begin. The infamous witch trials began escalating after the publication of the Malleus Maleficarum, Hammer of Witches, in 1487. Written by two Dominican monks, this book became the ultimate guide on how to detect, prosecute, and punish witches. It was widely read and greatly influenced public opinion, turning suspicion into panic and fear into violent action across Europe. 4. Salem's Madness. Salem, Massachusetts, experienced one of history's most notorious witch hunts in 1692. Several young girls accused their neighbors of witchcraft, claiming they had been bewitched. Mass hysteria quickly spread, leading authorities to arrest and try hundreds. Ultimately, 20 people were executed and many others imprisoned. The Salem trials became an iconic example of how fear and paranoia could spiral out of control. 5. Accusers and victims. Victims of witch hunts were often vulnerable women, particularly older, unmarried, or socially isolated individuals. Accusations frequently arose from jealousy, rivalries, or grudges. Property disputes or personal disagreements could easily escalate into accusations of witchcraft. It became disturbingly easy to eliminate rivals by labeling them as witches, further fueling paranoia and mistrust within communities. 6. Torture and confession. Suspected witches faced brutal torture methods designed specifically to extract confessions. Techniques like sleep deprivation, physical pain, and emotional manipulation forced countless innocent people to falsely confess to witchcraft. These confessions convinced communities that witches were real and active threats, perpetuating a vicious cycle of fear, accusation, and punishment. 7. Mass hysteria. Witch hunts thrived on mass hysteria, a psychological state where fear and panic spread uncontrollably through communities. People genuinely believed witches threatened their safety and well-being. This collective anxiety caused neighbors, friends, and even family members to turn against each other. Entire communities became engulfed in suspicion and fear, making rational thought nearly impossible. 8. Economic and social stress. Periods of intense witch hunts often coincided with significant societal stress, including economic downturns, famines, plagues, and wars. These hardships created widespread fear and desperation, driving communities to look for scapegoats to blame. Accusing witches provided a simple solution to complex problems, allowing communities to temporarily ease their anxieties by identifying clear enemies. 9. The end of witch hunts. By the late 1700s, the rise of scientific reasoning and the Enlightenment began challenging superstitions about witchcraft. Educated individuals promoted rational explanations for events previously attributed to magic. Legal reforms gradually eliminated the use of torture and raised standards of evidence, eventually ending widespread witch trials. Society slowly abandoned the idea of witches as real threats. 10. Modern reflections. Today, witch hunts serve as powerful reminders of how fear, ignorance, and collective hysteria can lead to catastrophic injustices. Reflecting on this history helps us recognize similar patterns in modern society. It urges us to approach accusations, suspicions, and fears with critical thinking, compassion, and caution. Remembering these lessons ensures we never repeat such dark chapters in human history. Witches never truly existed, but the fear they created was undeniably real. If this deep dive into history intrigued you, don't forget to subscribe to Zukkun Knows for more fascinating insights.